This is the first video in a series Impero are sharing related to peer-on-peer or child-on-child abuse. As a company, we provide schools with a range of software designed to be the first line of defence in a digital world. And we work closely with experts in the field to establish a good understanding of the issues facing our children. Today, we're talking to Charlotte Aynsley about peer-on-peer abuse. So, how can we define peer-on-peer abuse?
Thank you, Natalie, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk about a really important topic. Keeping children safe in education defines peer-on-peer abuse, or as it's often known, child-on-child abuse, as situations where children are either physically hurting one another, or it might be some kind of sexual abuse or violence. It might be some kind of harassment between young people, or importantly, it might be things like bullying, which we know that happens in schools and online quite a lot. So there's lots and lots of different types of child-on-child abuse, which, as I say, is all defined in keeping children safe in education.
Now, this is quite a big question, but do we know why this happens? Are there any common factors in play when this takes place?
Often the factors are quite complex. Children's situations are quite different. They can be in situations which potentially make them quite vulnerable, which might lead them to kind of perpetrate this kind of abuse on another child. I think it's really important that we look at the whole context of the child to understand why they might be behaving in this particular way. And of course, what's also really important is that we understand what's going on for the victim, and we continue to support them and prevent this kind of abuse from happening, certainly in school and out of school and online as well.
It really sounds like it is a very complicated situation, very complex things to manage. We need to consider the kind of culture of the school as well as all the people involved. But for those young people involved, what is the reality? How might they experience this? Is it something that happens every day? Is it very common?
Sadly, it does feel like it's quite common for children, certainly over the pandemic, where they've been spending much more time online, as we all know. Some of the ONS figures tell us that 1 in 5 children have been experiencing bullying online, which can include things like name calling. It can include things like exclusion, so groups that have been set up where children are being deliberately excluded. Ofsted and ISI did a report last year looking at some of the sexual abuse and sexual harassment that's happening in schools. And what they found is that 90% of girls said, this is pretty commonplace for us. This is something that's happening all the time. And they also talked about the fact that they were receiving sexually explicit content, imagery and videos as well. Both girls and boys talked about that, but again, girls more saying that this was more prevalent. So there's lots to do to make sure that children feel safe, both in school and out of school and online as well.
That prevalence is something that has come up a lot, and in our next video we'll be talking about how we can create a culture in which it's prevented, and then later on talking about how we can manage those incidents when they take place. That's coming up in the next videos that we'll be sharing. If you have any questions regarding peer-on-peer abuse, please contact info@imperosoftware.com.